Hi. To get a practical view of web application development, we'll have to write our own application and deploy it on a server. Now, in the enterprise world, there are centralized server management teams. They have standardized processes for deployment of web applications. To learn the process, we can create our own Spring Boot application. We can make a WAR file for it, and also we can try deploying it on a Tomcat server container. Let's go through the steps for the same. First, to make it happen, we would require a Spring Boot working application. We have it available in a Git repository. Second, we would require a server on which we can deploy it. For Java applications, Linux environment is preferable because the performance is better. But right now we have only Windows environment available. We'll have to do with that. Third, we need a Tomcat, the app server on which we can deploy the application. For installation of Tomcat, again the link I would provide in the description here.
So here we are on Eclipse and we have our application, Spring Boot application available here. Let's start with having a look at how the application looks like. It has a basic flow defined, which we'll keep on refining as we progress through this learning series. And it has started the application. Localhost 8080. This is what the application looks like. It has some data captured via a form. When we say next, the information is stored in MS SQL database. We made the entry. Also, there are a few more pages which take care of some basic functionalities. Other functionality we'll add as we progress. This is what the application flow looks like. It's on Spring Boot. Now, certain things to note here are, in the POM XML, we can see details of the tech stack that we have. Spring Boot, we are using version 2.7.5. We have defined the packaging to be WAR. By default, it goes as jar. We have kept it as var, WAR, the way you want to say it. And we have set the name as basic LOS. We come here in the final name of the WAR file that will be created would be kept as basic LOS. Another, although it comes by default, but still we should note that the Spring Boot application comes with an embedded Tomcat server. When we say in pom.xml that it is the scope is provided, it ensures that whatever Tomcat is provided, the application will run with that. So when we go with the external Tomcat, it's going to help us. Then these are the other dependencies of this application. We use Java version 17 for this. Now, when we run this application via the IDE, it will run happily. But when we want to run this application via external Tomcat, certain changes we have to do. Not much, certain basic things, like when the external Tomcat comes and wants to launch the application, it should know what is the starting point. We know that in a Spring Boot application, the starting point is the class which has annotation @Spring Boot application. That class will be having the main method. We know that. IDE knows that. But the Tomcat, since it's an external servlet container, it has to know. And it waits for a web servlet initializer class. Hence, our Spring Boot application's main class, we have to extend it. by Spring Boot Servlet Initializer class. And also we can do a few configurations. This is the way to allow Tomcat to run the Spring Boot application. Now we talked about Tomcat. Let's also see how to install Tomcat. For that, we go to this link. I have used version 9, although there are other versions also available. Here I have extracted the Tomcat zip file which was available over here. It has this structure. Certain changes we have to do. We go inside conf and here we have user.xml. If we want to use Tomcat's provided front end, we'll have to define a few users. So what we have done is this portion was commented. We've removed the comment and we've provided our own password for these users. So rather, let us stop this application and let us start running the Tomcat. How to run Tomcat server? What we have to do is we go inside bin. It comes with predefined scripts. To start the server, we use startup, and to stop the server, we use shutdown script. It has the Linux as well as Windows version available here. So the way to go about is we come here, we start the terminal. The scripts were available in bin folder and we say startup. So here we are trying to start the Apache Tomcat. It will start at port number 8080. This time it will have to start the Tomcat. These are the predefined front-end pages available on Tomcat server. When we go inside Manager app, it will ask for the ID and it will ask for credentials. Since I've already provided, it's not asking. Otherwise, when we come for the first time, it will ask admin for Manager GUI. These credentials we'll provide. It would let us access this page. And there are multiple ways of installing a WAR file. To create the WAR file, we come here. Again, to create the WAR file also there are multiple ways available. Like we can give maven command from command prompt, or we can use the IDE to tell maven to create a build for us. We come here and we say maven install. What it will do is it will create WAR file for us with the name that was given in form.xml, and it will save it inside target folder. So let's give it some time to finish its work. And yeah, the target, yeah. So it has created basic los.war inside the target folder. It says WAR file to deploy, select WAR file to deploy. We give the location that we had. This is the basic los.war file. We tell it to deploy. So now it's working. Once the deployment is done on Tomcat server, we'll have it listed here, our application. So it has come here. This is called a context path for the Tomcat server. When we click here, it takes us to our application. So now our application is working from the external Tomcat. We save it. Let us check whether information is saved in the DB. Yeah, so we have the information saved, and on similar lines, the application will go through. You can congratulate yourself for coming this far, because with this, we've established the foundation. Deploying your Spring Boot app using a WAR file onto a mature Apache Tomcat server. It's a feat. Now, you now know the compliant, enterprise-friendly way to manage your applications on premises. However, this is just the beginning. The future of deployment is in the cloud. In our upcoming videos, we'll ditch the local server management and we'll focus on taking the application and deploying it on Azure cloud environment. Subscribe now to learn how to make that critical leap. Thanks for watching and let's go cloud native next.